All right, so I'm going to show you my new project here. I've had this red case from, several years ago when they first found the molds to start making these cases again. And I put my bread bin C64 inside. So let's take a look at this. So first off, I'm going to start with a little bit of an unboxing. I needed some standoffs for the keyboard, and I went online on eBay and found some really good ones. They come from Commodore Sam. If you look him up on YouTube, he's got a YouTube page, and he's also got an eBay page where he sells these at. So the shipping was fast. It's a good product. I bought it for one of my other cases, but what I really like about these is it has screws built into the top, so once you get it in place, the keyboard in place, you can tighten it down and keep it where you want it. It's really good quality 3D printing, and so I'm going to install those today. Okay, so I got my tools ready. A screwdriver, some precision screwdrivers. So let's go ahead and open this up. I don't have the screws attaching the case in right now because I knew that I'd be getting in here. So I'm going to show you guys some kind of my ghetto work here. First of all, when I put this in, I wanted some shielding, so I just put some aluminum foil over it. Go ahead and roast me in the comments. I'm sure you will. Sure this might cause some kind of short. I'm not sure. But I can tell you that the original shielding did not fit in this case, A. And B, the original shielding that I had on my bread bin C64 caused a lot of audio issues. There was a lot of noise in it, so I'm going to take this keyboard out. Try to remember that it's white on this edge. Set that aside. So, like I was saying earlier, I was an early adopter of these cases. So this is number 396 out of 500 from the original run once they found the C64 cases again. It came with 3 screws for the bottom and some feet. I'm going to take this off of here, and this is my bread bin motherboard, assembly number 250425. And it is NTSC. I can tell by looking over here that this is getting worn down a little bit. I might clean these contacts while I'm in here. But overall, this has been a really good board. And I'll start disassembly. I'll probably fast forward through this part for you. Why do I have to take this apart might be the question. Because this standoff needs to go under the motherboard on this side. Well, this one will fit right here on top, but this one has to go under the motherboard. So I'm going to take it apart, put everything in place, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm not positive why, but this board is really tight on this side. I think it's because the original bread bin has a plate that goes in on this side, and it slides in between the motherboard when you attach it. So there's extra material down here, and it just holds this in really tight once you put it in one of these cases. So I slid this bracket down under, and it goes over one of the standoffs that looks similar to this, but it's under the motherboard. And then this other part here will attach right here, and then that part will be complete. So I gotta find me a good screw, and I had an extra screw here that actually probably came off a PC because it doesn't match these other screws. So it's just a little bitty screw. So I'll try to find a nice spot for that screw and then make sure that this lines up with something, because I don't see the hole. So it's supposed to go in right here, and I'm not seeing the hole that this is supposed to attach to, so I don't know what I'm going to be screwing through, but it looks like that thicker part of the motherboard, so I'm hoping I don't do any damage to this. That's what happens when you use I guess a bread bin with the C64C case. So hopefully this will attach and hold okay, but I already don't think that's gonna work. So I might have to find another way to attach this. So I used one of the self-tapping case screws that attach here to make a hole through that, and it seems to have worked okay. Of course, we won't know exactly how well anything works until I power it on, but this is one of those situations where I'm going to experiment and find what happens and might pay for it, but you don't learn unless you try, and trial and error has been a great teacher in my life. So we'll find out what's going to work here. So this hole is lined up, and I may just have to use one of the case screws to make that work, because this screw is just not quite long enough. So one thing that would be helpful in this standoff kit is if you included a screw there that was a little bit longer, because these screws that came with the motherboard just aren't quite long enough for that. You don't really need it on this one, but if you could include one screw, that'd be great. And preferably one of these self-tapping screws. So I'll just have to find some more screws with that thread count. Okay, that seems to fit. The only other thing that I didn't mention is these are hex screws. So you'll need the right hex screw or tool for that, the right Allen wrench. And I'll go through my set of Allen wrenches and tell you which size this is so that you'll know. So I have a set here of Allen wrenches that come all together from Craftsman, and it appears that this is 3/32 imperial measure. So what I have here is a Q-tip with rubbing alcohol on it. I'm just going to go ahead and clean these contacts, because this machine's pretty old. This is, like I said, one of the old bread bins, so pretty early on computer. Now, I'm also building a bare metal emulation computer into one of these cases that I bought, because I got one that was red and one that's white. And one of my complaints about the new Commodores coming out is they don't have this user port attached. You got to get it separate, and then you got to run it ribbon cable out the back of it, and I think it looks bad. And I just really don't think that that was a good choice. I think they could have left this here, and just as you've got ports over on this edge, you could have done the USB ports on this edge, and that particular setup has the SD card on the inside, so you got to open up the SD card or the whole case just to get to the SD card. I think they could have had USB and the SD card over here, move the HDMI over to one of these ports right here, because this is the video, and they've got an audio jack here, so audio and video next to each other makes sense to me. And then, you know, you have your ports here, it's symmetrical. Plus, then I don't have to buy this separate, because right now would have to buy that separate in order to have it. And I have quite a few devices, and maybe I'll do a review of the devices I do have that work with this, including modems. So I'd like to still be able to use that port, and I don't want to have to open the thing up and reattach things. It should come sealed, and I only open it if I really need to. I got an SD card slot on this edge that I can just stick it into, because it's real convenient right there. That's what I'd like to see, and then maybe I'll upgrade and get one of the new ones. But for now, I think there's enough really good carts out that I can use here that make the old hardware run just as good as new stuff. So it's a hard sell for me to buy the new model when this is separate, and the arrangement to me doesn't make a lot of sense. I know he was trying to fit the ultimate motherboard into an original case, but you're now a new company and you've got capital. You can redesign things to make them fit where they need to go, you know. So that's what I'd like to see in the future for the new Commodores. So I know that the aluminum foil's kind of, you know, not the standard way. So what I'm going to try to do is put the aluminum foil on the bottom of the keyboard to see how that works. So at least there's some shielding in here. But that's going to leave all these chips back here open, and we'll see how that works. I do know that using just the aluminum foil over this like I had it, there's no way for the heat to escape, and I don't want that. So we'll see how this works, and maybe I'll figure out a way to test how hot the chips are getting. But eventually I'd like to get, for the chips that get really hot, heat sinks to put in here. Okay, so I'm gonna test fit this. The aluminum's on the back. See if I can get this to slide into the spots where it needs to be. Of course, I'm not sure why, but they put the cabling at the bottom of this keyboard instead of the top, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. They could have put it, you know, coming out up here, which would have made it easier to plug in where you need to go. So where did I say that cable went? With the white on this edge over here. We'll see if I can get that to fit in. So there's that part. The other part has got this giant magnet here, and that worried me, being right over the chips. That's another reason I put the foil where I did, so I might be rethinking this a little bit. So I really don't want that magnet just sitting right over the chips. I'm not sure if it would erase the chips or not. You'll have to tell me in the comments. I don't know that part of this. Okay, so I'm going to attach this first screw and start buckling everything up. I did go and get another piece of foil to put under that magnet because I just don't feel like it should be laying right on top of chips. If anybody knows where to get good shielding at, like original shielding that might work with this, drop me a link in the comments so that I can find the right thing, because you know, I don't really want to do this like this, but this is all I had at the time, and I'd rather have a little bit of shielding than nothing so that I can cut down as much background noise and RF signal as possible. And you know, every once in a while on this channel I'll probably do a how not to do it video, and this might be one of them. So I do what I can figure out. I did a little bit of research and saw a lot of things that said that it was okay to do foil, but you know, people online don't necessarily always know everything, but I try to do my best to do a little research before I do something, and I'm not always correct when I do it, so we'll just have to test it out and find out. And like I said, as soon as I'm done reassembling all this, then we will test it out. Just to let you know, you don't want to over tighten these, you know, you want to tighten them down kind of hand tight. There's no need to destroy these by putting too much torque on it. And that's that part. So this is put in. I got all the screws back in. I want to draw your attention to something on these cases. Down here in the badge area, the runner from the mold leaves a sharp point right here. So what I did was heated up my soldering iron and just touched it, you know, not left it on too long, just put it on there for a second and it melts it down. And then you've got a nice unpointy area, for lack of a better word here, to attach your plate. So I'm trying to decide which collar I would want to put on here, and do I want these or do I want to buy something metal? So I'm still trying to decide on that. But here's the computer put back together. The keyboard is lined up really well. Everything's snapped back together like it ought to be. So let's go test it out and see if it runs. So off camera, I decided to go ahead and put the screws in the case to keep it closed, and went ahead and put this white badge on because I like contrast. I think it looks all right, but one of the things I thought was really cool was the case matches this flash card a little bit, and the standoffs, if you saw inside of this machine, match the case. So overall I think it's pretty cool. So this is going to be my first boot up. Let's see if it works now that I've got everything in place. And it appears that everything works. Shows that the flash cart is installed, and as you can hear here, I'm going to turn up the volume. There is a minimum amount of background noise I hear there, but nowhere close to when I had the original shielding on. So what should we boot up? I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with GUI 64, but there is a new version out, 1.95. So if you want to try that out, I encourage you to go do so. And I'll show a little bit of it here, and we'll see. Let's see, I think it's at the bottom here. Right there, 1.95. And again, you've got the Mac version and the Windows style version. Looks like it's working. Everything's seen. Again, I'm still blown away that that works as good as it does. And Web Fritzy did take some of my comments and implemented them, like the about. So now you see it's 1.95W for Windows. I really do think he did a great job on this. One thing that he wanted me to show last time that I didn't show, and I'm going to shut the computer off and recycle it. One thing that I didn't show last time was in the Mac version how the windows work, so I'll take you through that real quick. Let's see. So if we go down here to the Mac version, I'm just going to use the program there. When you have these windows open, and let's say we got it extended, when you right click on the window, it shrinks down like the old Mac windows do. I think that's really cool. So that's one update that I didn't show last time. And of course he's got the about in here. And I believe in the newest version there is a file browser, but I haven't checked that out yet. I'm not really sure. Or a file viewer. I don't know if I've got any texts or anything like that on here that I can show that off with. I'll have to do that another time maybe. Oh, what was I just in? There's high score there. Let's see if I can read this. Yep, there's the file view window. So it is working. Now, do I know how to get any of this information out of here? No. But as you can see, he did a good job making the text inside the window move with the window. It's really pretty cool. So that's my update for that, version 1.95. If you don't have it, I suggest going out and getting it. And somebody else suggested a naming for the pattern, and I think he took that under advisement too. So overall, still really cool. And there's several games that I didn't review in my December 2025 video, but I got a lot of new games in here that I've found on itch, and there's some really good games, so I'll go through here and show off some of the new games here later, probably this month. I have a couple videos planned. This is one of them, and definitely I will show off my bare metal Commodore 64 when I get it all set up. I'm still waiting for parts, and then I'll get into that. So again, like always, thanks for watching.